Hello and welcome back. Today I will be playing the Alaska and I am doing so solo on Tears of the Desert in Epicenter. It is a CV game and only 2 DDs, so we have a decent amount of cruisers and battleships to shoot at. I'm in the south, closer to the islands in the east. So since I am a supersized US cruiser, I want to utilize the islands as much as I possibly can. So I will be going up to the islands there and see if I can either hold back an enemy push or, if it's possible, push up along the islands and force the enemy back. Now the Alaska is a ship that I was very excited about when it was announced, and I was really looking forward to play it. But in my opinion, even though I still enjoy the ship, it is not really what it should be. I think it lacks a bit when it comes to the ratio between the reload time and dispersion and sigma. So very similar to my main concerns with the Kronstadt. That even if you aim well, your guns will not really hit, at least not reliably. And your slow reload cannot really counteract that reduced damage per salvo. Now the Alaska is better compared to Kronstadt. The dispersion is not as bad. And it is definitely noticeable when playing it. Though on the other hand, the shell flight time is longer, so it also makes it a bit more tricky to aim, but if you play ships like Des Moines, it's not that big of an issue, to be honest. But we will see throughout this game that I can't punish ships the way I need to with the slow reload I have. Comparing with the Stalingrad, who has an immense strike power and also a very good dispersion, which obviously helps in the strike power. The Alaska and the same with Kronstadt. Yes, you can get good hits, but not reliably, and it makes it difficult to really play it the way you would like to. Instead of the big heavy damage you would expect from a supercruiser, it becomes more a damage over time, which to me feels wrong. Now ideally I would like either the reload to be decreased, so that you can shoot a bit more often, or the dispersion to be improved, so that when you can shoot, you will have a better chance of hitting multiple shells. Because there will be several times where I'm shooting ships like the Grosse Kerfers, which is a very large ship. And even at about 13 kilometers, I will still only hit one shell because the dispersion is just too bad. And the ship really suffers from it, I think. Ideally you want to get some good broadsides that you can shoot AP into. And you want that on fairly close ranges. But you don't really have the maneuverability like the Des Moines Salem does, or the Stealth. So it is more tricky to get into the positions you want, and instead you have to do your best and to some extent hope that the enemy team will help out a bit in that regards. As I've been trying to push around this island, I take the Fletcher and get the opportunity to reset him. But other than that, I haven't got very far. The Ibuki appears to be the only ship that actually pushed down, and he quite rapidly started to retreat. So it's been a fairly slow start from my side. Gotten some fairly decent plane damage, but my team has lost 2 ships already. And while we are trying to prevent the enemy from capturing anything, our positions are perhaps not the best. One DD is already dead and the other one is over at the 10 line. So we are definitely in a fairly bad starting position. Or starting, we've been playing for 6 minutes, so yeah. I am forced to take this pretty slow. Try to do damage as I can and push up when the opportunity arises. We are starting to get some kills now, but we are losing control of the center cap. I'm radaring, trying to get someone to kill the Fletcher, but doesn't really look like anyone has angles on him. The Lion repaired my fire, so I'm trying to set another one. And this time it works, but very often you have this issue with the dispersion that your shells will not hit, or even if it does, it will be RNG saying no fires, and by the time you reload again, we will no longer be able to shoot him, perhaps. Now we did eventually manage to get Fletcher killed, which is good, because now the enemy team is down to 1 DD, just as we are. But I am maintaining my position as I can currently shoot at the Alsace for a bit, trying to get some additional damage. I could probably get some decent AP hits on him. The range makes it a bit unreliable though, so instead I am trying to just get fires to burn him down. It very much depends a bit on the game if I want to use mainly AP or HE, but throughout this game it mostly felt more viable to use HE to burn bad ships down, ideally at least. But I also try to use AP when the opportunity comes along. But as we see here, even though I got a fairly good amount of hits, that time the damage wasn't what I would like it to be. Now the enemy team failed to cap center circle, and every circle right now is blocked, so no team is getting points from the caps. With my first kill, we have managed to equalize the number of ship kills, 5 in each team. And I can finally start pushing up to the next island to start shooting at the Curfirst and Lion again. I could of course try to turn into the middle, but the enemy ships are a bit too far away and I would have to push into the circle to actually be able to shoot, which would open up my broadside to the Curfirst and Lion, so that I want to really avoid. I also have support here from the Seattle and Curfirst and Shimmy, so it is for now better to stay on the outside a bit and try to get some damage on the retreating battleships. This curve first battle will go on for quite some time. It is not only I shooting him, I think, but partly due to my low or long reload and underwhelming dispersion, it just takes too long to be able to do good amount of damage at this range and at this angle. So even though he should have been dead several times over during this entire engagement, he will stay alive for several minutes more. And that speaks a lot of the weakness of this ship. Now I will admit obviously that not all salvos are good. Some of them are even very bad. To some extent, my aiming in some cases is not good, but other times it is really dispersion. It's just messing with you. And again, due to the slow rate of fire, I just can't compensate for that. The HE damage is also not that impressive. We saw there that even though I got 4 pence, only got very low amount of damage. And when I can, I switch to AP, because if I do get a couple of hits, I will do better damage, and since it's not repairing, it's the obvious choice. When he's starting to angle a bit, I can't say that I know exactly when I need to switch to HE and when the AP can still do decent damage, but nevertheless I switch to hopefully get more fires and maybe get him to repairs and set him on fire again and kill him. Meanwhile, we have actually been able to cap both the middle and the center circles. But we are behind on ships at the moment. The enemy team has 7 and we are down to 5, so we are still behind even though we now have the caps. I'm doing a decent job avoiding the shells from the curve first. But we see here these salvos where I hit 2 shells or even 1 and only 1 does damage, and there is no real way for me to do things better. Aiming, yes, if I aim better in certain cases, but even when I aim as well as I can, the dispersion, like here, is just completely destroys what you're trying to do. I actually got 2 hits there, but still very low damage, and here we see that he should be dead. But my damage, or the amount of shells I can hit, just isn't good enough, and now we can even repair. And it becomes quite frustrating to know that in other cruiser you could have done so much better here. We are down to 4 ships, but we have managed to equalize number of points. We managed to get the second shimmy killed, so we're now getting points from our caps. Curvers is burning. I'm trying to finish him off before I switch over to the Yamato, who misses quite badly there. Replay is lagging a bit, not much you can do about that. But eventually Curvers goes down, and like I said, that took way too long, to be honest. Got a fire on Yamato as well, and the damage has started to tick up. Still only at about 150. and to be honest, a lot of it has come from HE. This particular match hasn't really allowed me to utilize the AP as much as I would like in Alaska. And you could try to be more aggressive or maybe find better positions than I have been able to, but it can be tricky in certain maps and certain situations, and I just had to do the best that I could. Yamato gave some broads and I could get some decent hits at least. And he has lost a lot of his HP in a very short amount of time.
The ship is on fire.
While we are in the lead, it is not by a huge amount. But with that Yamato kill we are now only one ship behind, and it's not looking terrible at least. GME is very low, and I need to start pushing in now to get to the other side and start dealing with the ships there. GME as expected goes down, and I now go in to try to get anything killed. I get the Wither, and I am just shy of 180,000 damage, which is alright, but it will get better. The CV comes for me, and to be honest, I make a pretty massive mistake here. I see that the squad is not full, so for some reason I decided not to use my defensive A, because I think I forgot that the Alaska has quite long-lasting defensive A. And instead I saved it for when there is a full squadron coming towards me. And I think that decision will cost me some valuable HP and therefore time. Also, to be able to finish that Republic, I show a bit too much broadside and eat more damage than I would like. But I get him killed and get a pretty decent hit on the Hakuryu. Get the Confederate and high caliber, and the damage is going up. Sadly I get set on fire, so I will go down here. I get my last couple of hits on him, but I will end up at almost 229,000 damage. The enemy team will now cap all 3 of the circles, and they will succeed in it as well. Our CV will in a little bit be able to kill the lion, and after that the timer will go out and we will win on points. So that's basically what happens in the rest of the game, and there's not too much point in watching the rest, so I will stop here and switch over to the result screens. So here are the result screen as well. Since the time runs out and we have the points lead, we win the game. And I end up at, like I said, about 229,000 damage, which is in the end a fairly good result. Managed to also knock down 25 planes. Should have been perhaps more, since I should have activated my defensive A in the end there, but my mind was somewhere else and I failed to do so. Also, 4 kills. Maybe I could have gotten 5 if I have played it better in the end. Again, mistakes were made and I ended up where I did. But at least we won. In terms of achievements, Confederate, Wither and High Caliber. So in the end, not too bad. I also got about 900,000 credits and over 12,500 XP, so that's also nice. Team score wise, just about 3,000 base XP, which is always nice. Second best was the CV with about 2.1. So it was definitely a good game from for my side, I think, even though definitely room for improvements. Other than that, nothing really sticks out. For once, everyone on the win team got above 1000 base XP, which is good to see, because it is rarer than it should be. D3 report, just managed to get the Wither with 61,000 damage from fires. Then I got about equal damage from HE and AP, 79 from HE and 89 from AP. Also, I only received about 82,000 damage, but tanked about 1.9. I did stay behind islands a lot of the time, so that's obviously negated a fair amount of damage. And a lot of it was in the end where I died quite rapidly. The curve first took a pretty large amount of my damage. Then it was fairly split between the other BBs and the CV as well. Apart from the Ibuki and one salvo on the Fletcher, I only shot at capital ships in this game, so that's quite unusual. But that pretty much sums this up. In the end, I think it was a pretty decent game. The Alaska, I think, needs some love from wargaming. Doesn't have to be a huge amount, but it needs something different. A bit better dispersion or a bit better reload, and then do the same for the Kronstadt, basically. Other than that, this is, like I said, a good game, but could have been better, so unfortunate, but nothing I can do about it right now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that Alaska game, and I will see you next time.